Now, it is 5 Live, 25 minutes past 7, and it's Rachel and Chris with you till 9 on the Breakfast Programme. We have spoken plenty of times on this show about how vapes are being used to groom vulnerable children. Let's hear from Chloe, who is 14, lives in Greater Manchester. These are her words, but they've been recorded by an actor. She's been speaking to our colleague Hayley Hassel from BBC North West Investigates.
I met a boy on TikTok. He said he'd buy me some vapes, and it just started from there. He was kind and he just seemed to get me. He was having the same issues as me at home. We both hated school. One day, he said he would meet me after school and buy me some vapes, because I couldn't afford them, and I was always cadging them off my mates. He showed up in town and I was a bit shocked because he was a lot older than he said he was. And he started turning up to spend an hour with me in the park after school, where we vaped together.
So what happened then?
After a few months, we went to his flat rather than the park, as it was getting cold. He also bought me some Ugg boots and a cool coat, as I had none. He told me he loved me, and if I loved him, he needed some things. I felt trapped and scared, but I didn't know how to stop. I never told anyone, because I felt stupid and disgusted and scared of what he told me he would do.
Do you think you're the only one, or is it happening to others?
It's going on every night, just outside school, at local vape shops and newsagents, where men can approach girls like me, and vapes are dead useful to tempt girls. Everyone wants the latest ones.
Well, that sounds really concerning, doesn't it? Chloe was eventually helped out by the Girls Out Loud charity, and Jane Kenyon is their founder, the founder of the charity. Morning to you, Jane.
Good morning.
How familiar is that story we heard there from Chloe?
I think it's more common than we actually think or we want to believe, because it's very easy, and vapes just happen to be the latest seduction technique, and, you know, there are a lot of girls out there that want them, that need them. So, yeah, I think it's, you know, we've seen an 80% increase in grooming in the past 4 years alone. So I think it's more common than we would want to believe.
So it starts with the vapes,
Well, it kind of starts online most of the time.
Okay, talk us through that.
Which it did with Chloe. So Chloe met this guy who she thought was a boy on TikTok. And so she engaged in a relationship with him for maybe 6 or 7 weeks, talking to him online before he showed up at the local newsagents 2 minutes away from her school.
So they believe they already have some kind of connection before anything else.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
That's why she was a bit shocked when she actually met him, because she thought he was a bit older than her, which is pretty cool. But she didn't realise quite how much older than her he was.
And also, we should remember, we're talking, in the case of Chloe, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well with plenty of other young children, we're talking about a 14-year-old girl here.
Absolutely, who's maybe not got the parental support that we would want her to have, who maybe doesn't have the resources and the people available to her to talk through whether that's a good idea or not. And is seeing lots of her friends do it as well. So it feels quite normal. It feels quite normal to talk to people you don't know online. It's happening every day. We at Girls Out Loud, we see this all the time.
Right.
And, sometimes we can stop it. We can get in there early enough. Other times it's already happening and these girls are not telling anybody. And it's only when they get into a relationship with somebody they trust, that they feel safe with, that they will start to open up. And then it's kind of like we can deconstruct it, and it all
and then what is happening once they get into what they believe is a relationship with these, well, let's say men?
Yeah.
Once they get into this, how are they then being groomed? They're being groomed into what? What is then happening? I mean, sexual exploitation is one of those things.
Well, it can be anything.
Yeah.
It can be anything. It can, because they are seen as their boyfriend. And clearly they know what that relationship is. They know what a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship is because they're surrounded by it. And, they're surrounded by those relationships getting sexual very quickly. They see it all the time. So, it's expected to go that way. When it goes that way, it's not a big deal. When it becomes very scary is when they can't get out of it, or when other things start to be brought into that, like other men, or, they get asked to do things that they wouldn't consider part of a normal relationship.
Yeah.
Then it starts to get quite scary, and then there's the threats for them to actually reverse out of it. So, at that point, they are quite trapped And, that's the point, that there needs to be an intervention.
Yeah. I know people have talked about, these young people being brought into county lines, criminal gangs, etc., etc.
Yeah.
On it goes.
So it's not always about sex, but,
sure.
It's never about anything positive.
Yeah, no, 100%. Jane, thank you. Thanks very much indeed. Jane Kenyon, the founder of that charity, Girls Out Loud, who helped Chloe, among many other people that they've helped over time. But you heard the story from Chloe speaking to Hayley Hassel. It's 7:30. No.